What is up, beautiful people, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, welcome, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me, please. And thank you. So today, as you have read by the title, you will be cooking Sunday dinner with me. And we're going to start off with cooking some fresh green beans. So we're going to start by boiling some water first. And once the water is boiled, we will be adding our fresh green beans in. Once all of the green beans are in the pot, we're going to let that boil until it is tender. And so now I will be adding a teaspoon of baking soda to the pot. This is to help keep those string beans looking nice and green. While the string beans are boiling, I'm going to go ahead and start on the sweet potatoes. I have already cut the ends of the sweet potatoes, washed them off, poked holes in them, and I'm going to be rubbing them with some olive oil to coat it. Now that the sweet potato is fully coated, we're going to go ahead and wrap them up in some foil paper. Now that both sweet potatoes are all wrapped up, I'm going to go ahead and get my baking pan, place the sweet potatoes in the baking pan and into the oven on 425 for about 40 to 45 minutes. While the sweet potatoes are baking in the oven, we're going to go ahead and hop over back to the string beans just to check how tender they are or if they need more cooking time. So from the looks of it, mine need a little bit more cooking time, so I'm going to go ahead and let it boil down for a little bit longer. So after my green beans have finished boiling, I went ahead and strained it, and I'm gonna start again with an empty pot. What I'll do is use this garlic butter by Carrie Forest, I believe it's called. I'm going to put it up in just a moment. There we go. By Carrie Gold. Garlic and herb butter. This is some amazing butter. It's very expensive for just this one stick. It's like $2 and some change from Publix. They do not sell it in the 4-pack, so I had to get just a single stick. And I'm gonna be using some olive oil as well. So after that butter and that oil melt down together, I'm going to add some chopped onions, chopped bell peppers, and chopped garlic to the pan or to the pot. And you guys, I did go heavy on the onions. I love onions, so if you do not like onions like that, I would say just put a little bit of chopped onions. However, I wouldn't omit them. I would use them unless you're allergic. Onions, garlic, and that bell pepper really bring a nice flavor to your food. Just a quick intermission, guys. If you have made it this far in this video and you still haven't subscribed, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, y'all. All right, so we are adding those green beans back to the pot after the veggies have simmered down in the olive oil and in the butter, and we're going to give it a stir. You guys, look how nice and green those green beans have remained after being boiled down. That's that baking soda. Now that I have mixed everything around and combined it, I'm going to go ahead and add some seasoning to the pot. I will be using Lowry seasoned salt, some adobo, and some black pepper. All right, you guys, so those green beans are officially complete. Now let's go ahead and check on those baked sweet potatoes. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get into cooking the salmon. I found this recipe on TikTok because I was tired of making the same basic salmon recipe with my go-to seasoning. So I decided to find something on TikTok different than the norm. And I ran across this honey garlic glazed salmon recipe. Now, I've made this recipe about 3 or 4 times now, and I absolutely love it. I've also been telling everyone about this salmon recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into cooking the salmon, and I will link the TikTok video down below in the description box. If I catch you nodding off, then it's gonna be some shit. Well, you can do what you wanna, live how you wanna, spit what you wanna, be who you wanna be. We don't stutter till I die. You can do what you wanna, live how you wanna, spit what you wanna, be who you wanna be. We don't stutter till I die. Fuck it, I just run it up before I go. Would you tell the world my secrets if I let you close? Feel my face, sending action. These days no kumbaya, niggas be past tense. Living in the middle, this shit might drive you mad. Ain't it pretty mixed up, but this life shit ain't all bad. Bloody, bloody murder, there ain't no second chances. Just do what you wanna, live how you wanna. At this point, I realized that I had less than a half cup of honey. So what I did was added 3 teaspoons of brown sugar to make it more sweet. Now, I did taste the sauce before I added those 3 teaspoons of brown sugar, and it was not to my liking. So I went ahead and added the brown sugar and tried it after that, and it was what I wanted. So with that being said, if you guys ever run out of anything, try to find a substitute for that specific taste that you need. You can Google search it, or you can, like I did, just off the top of my head, I was like, all right, let me just add some brown sugar and see how it tastes after that. So now that the sauce is complete, I will be adding the salmon to the pot. And if you were wondering, this salmon was purchased at Trader Joe's, and it's the wild caught Alaskan salmon. So the salmon is pretty easy to cook. I'll just let it simmer for a few minutes, and I will be basting the salmon. So I'm gonna be putting the juices on top of the salmon so that it can soak in and grab all that flavor from the sauce. I also will be flipping the salmon one time. You'll see that later on as we go along. And as you see here, I am adding the brown sugar. I added it later because I didn't taste the sauce until this point. So that's when I decided to add in the brown sugar. So next I'll be adding the fish to a baking pan, and I'm going to put it in the oven to broil for about 2 minutes. Also guys, don't forget to transfer the sauce over to the baking pan, because when you do broil any type of meat or anything, it does tend to burn a little bit. So you want to make sure that all the juices are there so that the fish doesn't burn and stick to the pan.
You go, now you know how I've been living without you. Daydreaming on a cloud with you like horizon. With you tonight is on an island. It's about time we're making up.
Alright guys, so after 1 minute I did go back and check my salmon, and it is not to my liking again, so I'm going to put it back in the oven and let it broil for 1 more minute, and then we'll be checking it again. guys, so this is the final look for the salmon. This is the look I was going for. It's a little bit more burnt or crusted over. Now we're going to get into the seafood paella. So I went ahead and added some of that Kerrygold garlic and herb butter to the pan. This was not on the instructions, but I wanted to do that because this is not a nonstick pan. And here is what the seafood paella looks like. I got it from Trader Joe's. It has shrimp, mussels, calamari, veggies, and it has some yellow rice in it. This was extremely good. Now, I did notice that it did spring its own water after I covered it with a lid, so you might not need to add the garlic and herb butter. However, I like flavor, so I'm going to do that. I did have to put some additional seasonings in the rice because Trader Joe's frozen section, their food can be a little bit on the bland side, so I had to doctor it up a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. So the cook time on the seafood paella was up to 5 minutes. So I let it simmer for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then I went ahead and checked on it just to make sure it's not sticking to the pan and just mixing it around and stuff. So the seafood paella needed a little bit more time to cook because, as you can tell, the shrimp is still frozen. It's not opaque like the package said. This was an amazing meal. My camera died, so I had to take this little video of my plate on my phone. I hope you all enjoyed this cook with me video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.